Well, it's almost January, and in the Northwest, that means the beginning of the long, dark haul to March 1st. One of my personal annual traditions is that every year leading up to Christmas, I try to read the original text of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. It isn't that long, actually. It's a novella rather than a novel, whatever that means. Originally published 177 years ago, it has literally never gone out of print. Let me read just one particularly spooky moment when Scrooge meets the ghost of Christmas past. The curtains of his bed were drawn aside, and Scrooge, starting up into a half-recumbent attitude, found himself face to face with the earthly visitor who drew them, as close to it as I am now to you, and I am standing in the spirit at your elbow. First time I read that, it was late at night, my family was asleep. I have to admit, I looked behind me, half expecting to see the ghost of Charles Dickens. He wasn't there, as far as I know. But the good news is, someone else was there and always is. As we look now beyond Christmas and strive to keep Christ close, I'm reminded of something potentially confusing in the book of Matthew. His name is Jesus. The angel said so. Jesus literally means God saves. But the writer of Matthew also says, just a few verses later, that Jesus will be called Emmanuel, after which no one ever calls Jesus that. Confusing, right? Here's the text from Matthew chapter 1. I'll start in the middle of verse 20. An angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. All this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. As it turns out, Matthew's not confused or trying to confuse us. Rather, Matthew is setting up a theme that runs throughout the Gospel of Matthew. The theme is that Jesus is God with us. Let's keep going. Pick up the theme much later here in Matthew 18, 19, and 20, where Jesus assures his listeners, again, truly I tell you, that if two of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where two or three gather in my name, here we go, there I am with them. Emmanuel, God with us. So was Jesus only God with us while he was here on earth? Apparently not, because that statement at the beginning of Matthew about Jesus being called Emmanuel is matched at the very end of the Gospel of Matthew when Jesus says this in Matthew 28, 19 through 20. Therefore go, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. Literally, the last line of the Gospel of Matthew is Jesus saying, I am Emmanuel. I am with you always. Charles Dickens was just trying to be spooky when he said, I'm standing in the spirit at your elbow. Jesus, on the other hand, really is standing with us all the time. No question, Jesus is with those who love him, devote themselves to him, follow him. Question is, are you with Jesus? Have you committed your life to him? If you have, are you staying aware of Emmanuel? Are you keeping close to your mind and heart that he is a constant presence in your life? Are you striving to stay close to Jesus? Here's an idea that I've used several times over the past few years. There's this very useful app that Jason and Melissa Campbell told me about several years ago. It is called Soul Revolution. You can use it to set up a unique alarm on your phone to remind you every hour of the waking day for 60 days that God is with you and that you are with God. Everywhere you go, whatever you're doing, Emmanuel, God is with you. At work, God is with you. Working on that spreadsheet. At home, God is with you. At school, God is with you. Out for coffee with a friend, out for a run, for a hike, or driving in between all those places, you guessed it. God is in the Spirit at your elbow. Emmanuel is always there. Whether you use the app or not, I encourage you to find a way to be mindful of that. It will help you realign and place under God's control and influence all aspects of your life. I'm signing off now. I won't be at your elbow in the spirit or otherwise. Charles Dickens won't either, but someone will, I assure you. He is Emmanuel, and He is with us always.